In the latest issue of Doctor Who magazine, Russell T Davies promised a Lorry Load of Lore coming this season. What could he mean? Let's discuss. Welcome to Culture Filter, the channel where I like to talk about all the geeky pop culture that I like and consume, including an awful lot of Doctor Who. I'm Phil, and we're going to be talking about this new promise, I guess, from Russell T Davies in his little column in Doctor Who magazine. The Lorry Load of Lore was a direct quote, and he goes on to say, new Time Lord facts, new things about Gallifrey, just a smattering, some good stuff. So, what could that be? Let the speculation begin. First of all, I do want to say, slight contradiction in saying there's a lorry load, but then also saying just a smattering. Which one is it, Russell? A lorry load or a smattering? They are two very different units of measurement on vastly different ends of the scale. But either way, let's talk about the possibilities. So, are we going to get a bit of Time Lord history? Something from the Doctor's past that plays into one of the stories, perhaps? Do the Time Lords have some history with one of the new villains? If so, which one do you think that might be? Are they responsible for imprisoning that cartoon character, Mr. Rinky Dink? Do they have some connection to the Well and the horrors that may be down there? Is the Well actually an old Gallifreyan colony of some kind? Maybe even from before they had time travel? Or are we going to get really deep into the lore and explore something a bit more about the origin of Time Lord society? We obviously had a bit of that with the Timeless Child in the Chibnall era. Are we going to be going back to that? Are we going to be having some more exploration of the Timeless Child or Division? Maybe Division has some kind of connection with the Well. Maybe it's a Division outpost. The possibilities of this are endless, and I would love to hear your theories down below. Another option, maybe there's some surviving Time Lords out there. Yeah, the Doctor likes to go on about how he's the last of the Time Lords, but perhaps he's not. Did some of them get off the planet before the Master helped turn everyone into Cyberlords? It always seemed obvious to me that that would have happened. Like the fact that how would the Master have managed to conquer the whole planet, turn the whole planet's population into Cyberlords in one fell swoop? Surely some got away. I do think there was a missed opportunity to do maybe some kind of storyline about Time Lord refugees in the aftermath of that, but they decided to go a different route with Flux. But I still think that's something that they could return to, and maybe they are going to here. Maybe the Time Lord lore here is that the Time Lords are now a refugee species scattered throughout the universe. That would tie quite nicely into the themes of adoption that they had going last season, and not having a home anymore, or not knowing where you're from. That would kind of tie quite nicely into that. Or perhaps, maybe it's not even really touched upon this season, but is just mentioned. Maybe he finds out there are other Time Lords still about this season, but we don't get them particularly involved in any story. He just comes across the information, and it's left to future seasons to further explore it. And kind of linked into that, although it may have come about a different way, what if Susan is returning? I keep coming back to this in most of my theory videos, partly because I really want it to be true. I kind of want Carol Ann Ford to have one more go as Susan. I'd like to see her regenerate, and I'd like to see a new actor play the character. I think all three things of those would be really interesting to do. What if we're also getting new lore about Susan as well? New information about her origin. Who are her parents, for instance? Maybe we could find out a bit about that, because there was that intriguing, if slightly confusing line last season that the 15th Doctor had to Kate Stewart, in the sense when she asked about him having children.
But you mean you can have a granddaughter before a daughter?
Life of a Time Lord.
Which contradicts stuff he said in the past, even in Russell T Davies' first era about having children.
Don, I've been a father before.
What?
Lost all that a long time ago.
And so, take it with a pinch of salt, but maybe we're going to get something exploring that. Personally, I don't want this to be the case, but maybe Susan is the child of a future child of the Doctor's, and we'll get the lore of why she ended up back on what would be for her ancient Gallifrey with her grandfather all those years ago. I don't personally like that idea, but it's a possibility. So that's just a few ideas off the top of my head. Do you have any? Do you have any that you think are more likely, or ones that you think are completely unlikely but you'd really like to see happen? Let me know in the comments down below. And in the meantime, why not check out this other video of mine that YouTube thinks you'll like?